afternoon, everyone. Woo, y'all can do better than that. It's Sunday afternoon. Y'all doing okay today? There we go. All right. Yeah. I'm Reid Goodson, the managing director, and thank you for being here for our last part of our playwright series. We've had 2 successful nights, and this being our 3rd, and we are so excited to have this script in our midst. A few things. Directions, our youth theater program, will be hosting and having their first performance, the Fairy Tale Network, which will be September the 16th, here at 7:30. Also, Clue will be happening on our stage October 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. A fantastic Who Done It. And we will also have auditions for Elf right after Clue. And for more information how you can get involved, please visit our website at imperialcenter.org and click on the theater tab. All right, this afternoon we have Through an Open Window, written by the fantastic Bailey Garrison. And Bailey's from Raleigh and has been writing stories since she could pick up a pen. She began writing Through an Open Window in the fall of her junior year. And after many rewrites, under the guidance of teachers, cast members, and her beloved director, David McClutchy, her high school produced it in October of 2022. This play has been one of the most meaningful things she has ever been a part of, and she would like to thank all the people who made it happen, both at St. David's and at the Imperial Center Theater. Bailey is now a freshman at Wheaton College, where he's pursuing a degree in English and creative writing. And although Bailey could not be with us this evening, her parents are in the audience and attendance, so thank you so much. And we are expecting great things from Bailey. So we are proud to present Through an Open Window. I'm Reid Goodson, and I'll be reading the stage directions.
I'm Helen Davis, and I'm going to be portraying Abigail Logan.
I'm Caudle, and I'm portraying Rodger Logan.
I'm Jakala, and I'm portraying Madeline.
I'm Corrie Cox, and I'm portraying Herman and Herman.
I'm Evan Silver, I'm portraying Reid.
I'm McDonald, I'll be playing Kenny.
Hello, my name is Reid, and I will be playing Mr. Pratt.
We are proud to present Through an Open Window. Most of this play takes place in and around the Logan House, a fashionable mansion located in the suburbs of New York City. The front door, center stage, opens to the main room, which is large and impressive enough for Rodger's regular parties. Act 1, Scene 1, spring of 1955. At Rise. Lights up on Abigail in the attic, sitting at her desk reading a book. At the top of the show, the attic window is cracked open.
Abigail! Abigail!
He enters from the office and climbs the stairs to the attic. He is dressed in pieces of a tuxedo, pants, and a shirt, and is in the process of fastening on cufflinks.
The cook isn't in the kitchen. Where is she? The lamb is supposed to be ready in an hour.
I already told you she was coming late. She called.
I don't pay for late. Our guest will be here in a few hours, and all we have to eat are cheese cubes and grapes. She was supposed to make a dessert too.
Tammy will be here in an hour. Her son was sick today.
It better be life-threatening, because we're surviving off of advertisers.
You could at least pretend to show some concern, Rodger. The woman's son isn't well.
You could pretend to show some concern too. You know these parties are important, and I don't have time for this. You're the one who's supposed to manage all the details, and instead you're in here reading or writing or whatever else you do in this blasted attic.
If you can't wait an hour, I can see what I can do in the kitchen. I don't know how to make a lamb, but I can at least bake some cookies for dessert.
Yes, because cookies would be the perfect way to top off all those cheese cubes.
The cook will be here, Rodger. Now sit down and catch your breath. Your heart's going to burst before you're 30 if you're not careful. You're more cantankerous than usual today.
I am not contagious, and I only get headaches when I'm stressed, not when I'm sick.
The party will be fine. There's no need to stress.
But I don't even have time to think about the party. Not when I have a million work calls to take, and we just dodged a huge bullet at the company, which only makes things worse. How can you act like you don't have a care in the world?
I do care. What are you talking about?
Never mind that. And if you cared, you would be downstairs cooking lamb and putting on a pretty dress. These parties are important for business and connections, and everything has to go well. You understand, don't you? I don't have time to take care of trifling details while I have work to do. So it's up to you to see that everything goes smoothly, which means the last place you should be is here in the attic. What do you even do up here anyway?
Read, mostly.
Read what?
Books. You should try one sometime.
Can books feed our guests? Can they make us money?
Oh, no.
That's right, they can't. So why do you insist on wasting your time up here?
I enjoy books. Exploring faraway worlds, meeting all sorts of interesting characters. I love it.
Well, you're being selfish. Remember when I would take you to the opera, the theaters, the most expensive restaurants in New York? Abby, why can't you love those things again?
I do love those things, but they're not my world like they are yours.
You should be grateful. You think you would have spent nights in the plaza if you hadn't married me?
I didn't marry you just so I could parade on your arm under high ceilings and golden chandeliers. You know I married you because of my father.
You'll never understand, will you?
He storms out of the attic and goes downstairs.
You're my wife, and a wife has certain duties to her husband, so you can stop acting so ungrateful.
I don't mean to act ungrateful.
You have to understand that your world is different because of me.
Believe me, I do understand that.
Grabs a book out of her hand, slams it on the table.
No, you don't! Your eyes are too buried in the pages of a book, and your mind is too full of useless dreams, and it all comes from being up in this attic. For as long as we've been married, you spend hours shut up in here, and I'm tired of it.
I only come up here for an hour every day, and I make sure everything else gets done around the house. I oversee the cleaning and the cooking, I work in the garden, and I send out all your invitations. Besides, you spend all day in your office, so I don't know why you're so bothered by my 1 hour of solitude.
I'm in my office doing business, making money. You think all of this is free? I'm doing my duty of supporting us while you're hiding away up here where you don't belong.
And where do I belong?
You're a young woman. You should be at fancy parties, networking, joining charity committees, all of which boost the reputations of people like
I
us.
have no interest in the fancy parties. They're full of mindless people who hold their noses too high.
I didn't marry you for your opinions.
My opinions and I are a package deal.
Don't be smart.
He grabs her arm.
Do I need to remind you why you're even in this house? Your father probably would have died without my help. I paid for his cancer treatment. He gave me a beautiful girl to marry. That was the deal.
If you didn't want me, you didn't have to make the deal.
I wanted to marry you, Abigail. I just didn't realize that your parents never taught you how to be a good wife.
Let go of me!
I don't take orders from you. That's your first lesson.
Rodger!
So the next time you decide to come up here instead of doing what you're supposed to, I suggest your father on death's door in the hospital and that you'll owe me for the rest of your life. Do you understand? Do you understand me?
Yes.
Good. Now, come back to reality and try to find the cook. I have calls to make.
He exits to the office. Abigail takes her book off the table and exits to the kitchen. Scene 2. That night. At Rise, an elegant party is taking place in the house, and the guests are currently in the dining room, off stage. The doorbell rings, Rodger enters from the office, opens the door, and Mr. Pratt enters.
Oh, Pratt, good to see you.
Mr. Logan, a pleasure as always. Sorry I'm late.
Oh, quite all right.
There were cars lining the curb for a mile down the street. This must be your largest party yet.
Oh, please, you're exaggerating.
Well, I say it every time, but you've really outdone yourself.
You say it every time because it's always true.
My good man, you never do bore me. No wonder you're so successful. Is there anything you don't have? A good reputation, a beautiful house, a gorgeous wife. Where is Mrs. Logan?
Just finishing up her hair. You know how women are. And listen, about that guest she was supposed to invite.
Abigail enters from the bedroom wearing a beautiful evening gown.
Ah, there she is. Mrs. Logan, you are a vision.
Welcome, Mr. Pratt.
I was just telling Mr. Logan what a grand party this is. You truly are a lucky woman.
So I'm told.
Oh, the both of you, I just can't stand it. Mr. Logan, is this how you make all your business deals? All your acquaintances? Just make suckers out of them all by using your beautiful wife to butter them up?
Yes, I've practically become a piece of toast by now.
If only Mrs. Pratt and I could banter like you two, but I'm afraid she's too sensitive for it. I mean, one day you could really use a nose job, and then I'm sleeping in the garage.
Everyone is in the dining room with the appetizers. Why don't you go help yourself?
Well, I won't say no to that.
He exits to the kitchen, and party chatter drifts and fades out. Rodger faces Abigail.
Where have you been?
Getting ready. Sorry.
We had to start without you. And it's fine.
He leans in to kiss her on the cheek, but she pulls away.
Thank you.
Come on, Abby, lighten up. You're in a beautiful dress, and there are important and exciting people waiting for you in the dining room. The congressman is here, for God's sake. You need to enjoy yourself.
Enjoy isn't the word.
Well, I want you to meet people. I spent too much money on that dress for you to hide away out here.
I'm going to be hospitable.
Really? Parties aren't too mindless for you? People don't hold their noses too high?
I said I'm going to be hospitable.
Looks like I finally talked some sense into you.
As they stand in tense silence, Mr. Pratt enters from the hall with a plate of food.
Oh, Mr. Logan, these crab puffs are delicious. The best I've ever had.
You think so? They're Abby's favorites, too.
He tries to put his arm around Abigail's waist, but she shrinks away.
Mrs. Logan, is everything all right? You look like a raccoon caught in the daylight.
Pratt, what a thing to say to a woman.
No, just looks like she's had a bad fright. Look at that, she'll barely even look at you.
Oh no, I just had an accident with my curling iron that gave me a bit of a scare. Nothing to worry about though.
Are you sure? Curling irons are quite the deadly contraptions, you know. Why, my wife once stepped on one by accident. It burned two of her toenails right off.
How is that physically possible?
She's fine, Pratt. Now, tell me. I thought you had someone else coming with you.
She left her keys in the car and had to go back.
Oh, is Mrs. Pratt with you?
Abby, I'd like to introduce you to the congressman. Pratt, can I leave you in charge of the door for a moment?
I'd be honored.
I know you're still waiting on your guest, but besides her, there should be 25 of us, not including you, me, and Abigail. But including us, there should be 29. However, I did not see the Dawsons come in, so if they're already in the dining room, that will be 29. But if they're not, that would be 27, with us expecting 2 more, and maybe 3 if Mr. Dawson brings his brother along. So that would make 30, more than 30. And you should question anyone who comes to the door. Think you can keep track?
You can count on me, Mr. Logan.
How reassuring.
He exits with Abigail. Party chatter sounds. The doorbell rings. Ding dong! Mr. Pratt opens it, and Madeline enters in a stunning dress fit for a movie star.
Oh, it's you.
Find your keys.
Yes, sorry about that. Is Mr. Logan around? I thought he'd be the one to answer the door.
He just took his wife to the dining room, but he'll be back in a moment.
He's married?
A man as handsome and as rich as him doesn't grow very old before finding a girl willing to marry him.
What's she like? Gold digging? Not too bright?
No, she's actually a lovely person. Very sweet, very bookish, too.
Fascinating.
Rodger enters. Mr. Pratt rushes over to him.
Here she is, Mr. Logan. I was happy to invite her for you.
Oh, this is why I keep you around, Pratt. You never meet a stranger.
No, only strange people. But I assure you, Madeline is one of the most delightful women I've ever met.
He leads Rodger across the room to Madeline.
Mr. Logan, this is Madeline Mayer, one of Hollywood's most successful actresses.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Logan.
The pleasure's all mine.
I've been hearing about you since I moved from LA, and I'm honored to have been invited to one of your parties.
Well, you're my most esteemed guest so far.
Actually, that's not entirely true, Mr. Logan. Remember, you invited the vice president a couple of years ago.
Pratt.
Of course, the president would have brought more publicity, but the VP isn't shorted of the straw either.
Pratt.
Your house is beautiful, Mr. Logan. How long have you lived here?
Oh, this house has been in my family for generations. I can give you a tour if you'd like.
I would like that.
Pratt, everyone's about to start dinner in the dining room if you'd like to join them.
No, thanks. I just had those crab puffs. I'm so full.
I think the cook was just about to serve her world famous lunch.
I could eat.
He exits.
Well, this is the main part of the house, obviously. Would you like to sit?
Sure.
Thank you for accepting my invitation. To be honest, I wasn't sure you would come.
Of course I would. I've heard too much about you to stay away.
All good things, I hope.
Well, if they had been bad, I wouldn't have come, would I? Besides, I of all people would know what it's like to have a reputation that precedes me. I was interested in what you really like, not what the newspapers say you are.
First impressions.
Confident, driven, more handsome than I thought you'd be, and charming in a not awful sort of way.
I don't think I could ask for better than that. And what about you? What is the real Madeline Mayer like?
I think you should be the judge of that.
Then you could start with telling me about yourself. What was it like living in Hollywood?
Well, everything is unnecessary and dazzling. And childhood items are everywhere around the bend in the sidewalk. Everyone is watching you too. You see what you wear, or where you go, what charity box you drop your pennies into. I would get excited every day going outside, knowing there'd be cameras waiting for me. It was all like a dream. It was the best time of my life.
Then why did you move so far away?
A girl needs a breath of fresh air every so often. I'm on the contract to make another movie in a couple of years, but until then, I wanted to see what things like on the East Coast. A change would be good for me.
I'm afraid our little town in Westchester County won't measure up to the glory of Hollywood.
No, suburbs have a nice charm about them that I just adore. The people are much more complex too. For the most part, actors are all superficial.
You haven't met a superficial suburbanite yet?
Not unless you turn out to be one. That'd be a shame.
It would also be a shame if you turned out to be one of those unfortunate Hollywood starlets, hollowed out by fame and fortune.
We both have money, Mr. Logan. Does that make that tall?
It's Rodger, and no, it does not.
Then I caution you from making the same assumptions about Hollywood.
So you don't find me superficial yet, Miss Mayor?
It's Madeline. And no, I do not. This house is just glorious. I don't believe a movie camera could do it justice.
Thank you, and I have to say the same about you. Movie cameras don't do you justice either.
You're sweet.
In a not awful sort of way.
Sure.
Now, how about finishing that tour?
Lead on.
Well, through there is the dining room, which you'll see whenever you're ready to eat. Then there's the ballroom and the library and my home office and the veranda. And the rest of the rooms are upstairs.
He takes her to the side of the stage with the attic.
Up there is our attic. It's my wife's favorite room.
Why is that?
I don't try to understand. She's odd like that. Sometimes I think she'd rather be married to her folks than to me.
And where is your wife now?
Oh, God knows where. I told her 1,000 times how to behave at these parties. The truth is, Madeline, that I may love my wife, but I don't understand her. And she doesn't understand me. She acts like it's a crime that I want her to dress up nice and meet all my friends.
As they talk, they stroll around the room, slowly making their way to the opposite staircase.
I'm very sorry.
It's nothing to be sorry about, but I think I've come to a point where I need to stop trying to force her to understand.
Is that why you invited me?
You're exactly the kind of woman I can understand, Madeline.
I want you to understand me, Rodger.
Is that why you came?
When I was in Hollywood, everything I did was in front of a camera. When I was acting, it was in front of a movie camera. When I wasn't, it was in front of the press. And now here with you, there aren't any cameras. It's a breath of fresh air. Exactly.
Would you like to continue the tour?
I very much would.
After you.
They exit up the stairs. The lights fade on the house and illuminate the apron of the stage outside of the house in silhouette. David and Penny hurry on from stage left.
Will you slow down?
We're already late, and you don't want to miss dinner.
Good God, look at this place.
You've really never seen Roger Logan's house?
We heard of it.
Well, don't admit that to anyone inside.
Why not?
These people are a different breed, David. They only care that they're part of the same social circle. And being invited to one of Roger Logan's parties means you're in. We have to at least pretend like we belong.
Look at us. No one would ever believe that we belong.
Speak for yourself. I think I look rather dashing.
That's because you forced us to dash all the way here.
You're nervous. You always get funny when you're nervous.
You think they're actually going to pay us, much less let us in?
We were promised, weren't we? This is our reward for saving his company.
You weren't even there.
I might as well have been with the amount of times you've told the story.
Please don't.
An alleyway, 10 p.m., a Friday.
It's not how I tell it.
All is quiet and well on the street. And then there's a light. A man in black appears. Gas!
Gas!
He stopped outside head honcho Roger Logan's insurance headquarters, his single flashlight flickering in the darkness. He cracks the lock on the door. Once inside, he could steal documents, client intel, commit fraud, potentially costing the company millions of dollars. The Logan business is doomed.
Doomed.
No one was around. No one could stop him. But he wasn't counting on a random night guard taking a stroll around the block. And who would? There never was a sadder, smellier, more pathetic night guard.
Now you're embellishing.
But alas, though completely on his own, the guard had the courage to confront the criminal, single-handedly capturing him and escaping with a black eye and an elbow looking like a raw steak.
The stitches still hurt, by the way.
Roger Logan's employees lavished praise on the hero,
Why, thank you, thank you.
and in turn invited him to one of Roger Logan's famous parties where he would receive a generous check.
With a +1, of course.
Just look where we are, my friend. We're about to dine with one of the wealthiest men in the state and be presented with 10,000 big ones. And later, we'll return to our leaky old apartment to eat fish sticks and sleep under moth-eaten blankets.
I almost have enough to save for that house. You know, this money would really help.
I know.
It's not nearly anything as glorious as this mansion, but it's something.
It is, but when I have a mansion, you'll be welcome anytime.
Unfortunately, you're not Rodger Logan. Penny, do you really think he's going to let us in?
I've heard he's a generous man.
Most rich people claim to be generous.
No, really. Rumor has it he paid for his father-in-law's health expenses when he married his wife. That's how he got the girl.
It's the only way to find out is to open the door.
After you, then.
No, you first.
Please, I insist.
You're a perfect gentleman.
They exit stage right. The lights come up on the house again, and Mr. Pratt enters from the dining room.
26 plus me is 27. Then the Dawsons did bring their brother, so that's plus 3. 28, 29, 30.
Ding dong! Mr. Pratt is out of fingers. He opens the door, and David and Penny enter the house.
Can I help you, boys?
We're on the list.
But 30?
What?
I think you're at the wrong party.
Sir, my name is David Parks, and this is Warren Pennington. I'm the night guard who stopped the break-in at the Logan Firm.
Oh, you're David Parks, of course. I know the company is so relieved to be free from dealing with this break-in. Who knows what that man could have done to the place? He could have stolen countless documents, committed fraud, not to mention vandalism or even arson. Files are vile things, aren't they? The stench and the smoke and the burning. You know, my wife once stepped on a curling iron, and it burned her foot so badly that she couldn't walk for a year without it oozing pus.
That's disgusting.
We're just glad you've been invited.
Again, my apologies for the mix-up. Welcome. Well, I suppose this isn't my house, but so I don't have the right to say welcome, but if you see Mr. Logan, I'm sure he'll say the same.
Where can I find Mr. Logan? I like to thank him.
I don't know where he's going. He wasn't in the dining room, but his office is down the hall if you'd like to check.
Thank you, I will.
He exits the office. Abigail enters from the dining room.
Mr. Pratt, have you seen Rodger? I can't find him anywhere.
I haven't. Seems everyone's looking for him.
If you see him, will you let me know? The cook was wondering if he wanted the fruit on the cheesecake or on the side. I don't think we've met. I'm Abigail Logan.
Warren Pennington, at your service. I'm here as the +1 to the man who stopped the break-in.
What?
Surely your husband has told you, Mrs. Logan. His company could have lost a fortune, if not for Mr. Pennington's friend.
No, Rodger only mentioned dodging a bullet at the company. What break-in?
An alleyway, 10 p.m., a Friday.
I'm sure Mr. Logan wouldn't want to bore you with the details in business talk. The good thing is that you don't need to worry, because there are courageous people in the world who stand for justice.
In any case, I'm glad you're here, Mr. Pennington.
Penny.
Penny. And please do make yourself at home.
Why, thank you, ma'am. And tell your husband thank you as well.
I will. I just need to find him first.
She exits the office. Rodger and Madeline descend the steps from the bedroom, both smoothing out their hair and clothes.
Ah, Pratt, there you are. Would you mind getting Madeline me something to drink? Madeline, have a seat if you'd like. Who are you?
I'm Warren Pennington, and I wanted to thank you for the invitation.
Pennington. I don't think I've heard that name before.
I'm here with David Parks, the man who stopped the break-in.
He was the night guard,
Yes, sir, the very noble night guard.
and you're his +1.
Yes, I am.
+1 usually means a date.
Not for David. He's never been very good with the ladies. Me, on the other hand.
Is your friend around? I'd like to meet him myself.
Mr. Pratt enters and hands him a drink.
Thank you.
Mr. Pratt gives Madeline her drink and sits with her.
Yeah, he's somewhere around here, though I'm not sure where.
Yes,
David said you promised us a reward.
I did.
$10,000.
You're rather impatient for this money.
No, I'm not. It's just that $10,000 is really going to help us out. Security guards like us don't make a lot of money. And forgive me, but I've been promised money before by men who didn't follow through.
I'm busy at the moment.
I see that. You have a party to host.
Yes.
and people to get acquainted with.
The people I choose to get acquainted with are none of your business.
Of course not.
I would be grateful for discretion on your behalf.
And I would be grateful for generosity on yours.
Is this blackmail?
Oh, no. I didn't mean that. Really, I didn't. Just that David and I would appreciate the money we were promised.
Listen here. You have no right to come into my house begging me for money and judging my behavior towards my guests.
I'm not begging, and as for your behavior towards certain guests, I'm sure Miss Logan will be the judge of that.
Pratt, Madeline, will you excuse us?
Mr. Pratt and Madeline exit. Rodger takes a intimidating step towards Penny.
Thank you.
Don't come near me.
You're not welcome here anymore. In fact, I'm not sure what made you think someone like you would be welcome here in the first place.
Your wife already kindly welcomed us.
She doesn't make the decisions around here, I do. So I suggest you go find a different party and someone else's money to take, because I don't want the likes of you in my house.
David enters from the office.
Is there a problem here?
Who are you?
I'm David Parks, sir. I'm the one who saved your company.
I don't need saving.
Apparently you did.
I want you out of my house.
But I don't understand. You were invited.
These parties are important events for important people, which you are not.
But we were promised $10,000.
Dangerously close to Penny again.
After the way you've embarrassed me in front of my guests, do you really think I would give you my money?
A black eye and 14 stitches, and this is how he thanks me.
You don't deserve a dime of my thanks.
Back off.
Pushing him a little.
This is how you treat your guests.
Leaning in.
No, this is how I treat you.
Penny aims a punch at him, but Rodger dodges.
Penny!
David tries to hold him back, but Penny breaks free. Rodger strikes him, and David worms his way in between them.
Hey!
You should teach your +1 how to behave around his superiors.
You're superior to nobody. You're the coolest and most selfish man I've ever met. In fact, you're not even a man. You're a selfless piece of
Surely this can all be forgotten, Mr. Logan, if you would pay us what you owe.
I owe you nothing. Get out of my house.
Glad.
David and Penny exit the house. Abigail enters from the dining room.
Rodger, there you are. Tammy was about to bring out dessert and was wondering if the fruit should go on the cheesecake or on the side.
Will you just deal with it, Abigail?
Well, we didn't know what you wanted.
Fine. The fruit can be on the side.
Abigail turns to leave.
And where have you been? The other wives will think you're avoiding them, and that's not the reputation I want my wife to have.
I was in the kitchen with Tammy preparing the dessert. I was trying to be helpful.
Your job isn't to be helpful. That's why I pay for a cook. Honestly, Abigail, how hard is it to at least pretend like you belong here?
I'm never going to please you, am I?
Abby, please. I have a headache, and you're being a burden.
Is that how you see me? A burden? And by the way, where have you been?
I don't have time for your questions and accusations right now. Come eat cake when you get hungry.
He exits.
A burden?
She starts to follow Rodger down the hall, but changes her mind.
I need an arrow away from the cloud of snobbery and Chanel No. 5.
She steps out the front door, leaving it open. Upstairs, the top of the ladder appears in the attic window.
I'm sorry, David. It's my fault we didn't get the reward.
It's alright. Now keep the ladder steady.
But the money, the party.
If you'll just keep it steady, I'll take care of everything.
I'm trying, but you're not very light either.
Thud!
Ow!
Abigail hears the noise and comes back inside, turning sharply towards the attic. David peers in the window, glancing around to make sure no one is inside. He climbs through and stumbles upon the floor. Abigail tiptoes up the stairs, reaching the attic just as David stands up. Both scream, and Abigail grabs her book off the desk, raising it to hit David in the head.
Wait, I'm not going to hurt you. I don't mean any harm.
Yeah, because that's why people climb through the window.
Look, I'm unarmed. Just put the book down.
Who are you? What do you want?
She swings at him, but misses.
Ah, Gatsby. Good choice.
Who are you?
I was at your party earlier. I can explain if you'll stop swinging Fitzgerald at me.
Abigail lowers her book.
Mr. Logan invited me. My name is David Parks. And I'm here with my friend Penny.
I met Penny.
Well, I was the night guard who stopped the break-in at Mr. Logan's company. You can trust me. Look, you can see my sister if you want. The scab was in quite nicely.
No, that's alright. And you may have helped out the company, but that still doesn't explain why you're sneaking in the window. I don't know you.
I know, really. I don't mean you any harm. I don't think you have any of his servants during this party.
Excuse me, sir. I am his wife.
Excuse me, ma'am. Usually the whole swipe is downstairs with the guests.
I wasn't feeling well.
Well, I'm just swing around that book, though, right?
What are you doing in my house?
We got kicked out of the party, and I saw that the window was open, so
You broke into our house?
No! Yes, but I was some letter, and hurt anyone.
Get out of my house right now, or I'll go find my husband and call the police.
Look, Miss Logan.
Don't come near me!
She chucks the book at him and it flies out the window.
Ow!
You owe me a new book.
I'll buy you one, I promise. And I'll leave now. I didn't mean to startle you. And now I'm just embarrassed. But please don't press any charges. I won't bother you ever again.
Give me one good reason why I shouldn't call the police.
I was invited.
You were kicked out.
Wasn't my fault.
Wasn't it though?
It was all fine until your husband came along.
What did Rodger do?
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I don't want to upset you. You don't need to hear any of it.
I want to know. What did he do?
He started yelling at Penny, raving about how we were good for nothings and didn't belong in his party. Even if I did save his company. It would have been alright if that was all, but then he started fighting us because he had promised us $10,000, which by the way would have really helped me out. Buying a house, but he refused to give it to us, and I'm sorry. I shouldn't be telling you this. You're his wife.
Yes, which means I know him the best, and unfortunately, none of this surprises me.
I just got so angry at him, treating me like I was nothing. I had to do something, and well, here I am. You're right.
People like him are going to make you angry, and you can't always dish it back to them.
He makes you angry too.
That's none of your business. Why would you say that?
Well, you seem very sweet, and he's
Rodger Logan.
exactly.
I may not agree with him all the time, but he is my husband. I love him.
You do,
Yes, we're married, aren't we? We're supposed to love each other.
and he loves you.
Of course he does. But what's with all the questions? You're the one who broke into my house. I should be questioning you.
Well, save your questions. I'm afraid my life isn't so exciting as living in mansions and throwing parties filled with all sorts of interesting people.
Yes, you're a very interesting crowd. Some have been known to climb through my window.
Is it possible that we could just forget about this?
On a few conditions.
Here's one of those conditions that you don't call the cops.
David, what was your last name?
Why? So you can tell the cops.
I'm not calling the cops, and even if I was, you're not really in a position to negotiate, are you?
It's David Parks.
Well, Mr. Parks, wait right here. I have something for you that I believe is yours.
She leaves the attic and goes to the office. David fidgets impatiently, and after a long while, he makes his son right for the window.
Penny, hold the letter. I'm coming down.
Hang on, I'm almost done with chapter 1.
Starts to climb out the window.
Put Gatsby down and help me.
Just this page.
Penny!
He has one leg out the window and Abigail returns.
Just where do you think you're going?
David scrambles back into the attic.
Nowhere.
I wasn't calling the police.
Never said you were.
Just admiring the view.
What's that in your hand?
It's for you.
She hands him a check.
$10,000?
Nice going!
Scream a little louder and Rodger might hear you.
I can't take this.
You were promised it, weren't you? Rodger had already written the check.
No, it would be wrong for me to take this now. After I broke into your house and made a fool of myself. I couldn't do that.
Please, just take it.
What about your husband?
He'll be fine. And thank you for helping him.
I feel like I should be thanking you.
Well, that brings me to my second condition.
What's that?
I want you to write me a letter after you get your house. Just so I know that you haven't fled the country or put the money towards cigarettes and whiskey.
Or beautiful shirts.
What?
Maybe you would have got the reference if you hadn't thrown your book out the window.
You see why I'm early. Please write.
Can do that, Miss Logan.
Abigail.
Abigail, I better get going so you can get back to the party. I'm really sorry about this.
It's alright. Rodger makes so many enemies that I'm surprised this doesn't happen more often.
Thanks again for the money, and I hope your husband isn't upset with you.
Don't worry about me.
Promise all right?
Please do. Good night, Mr. Parks.
Just David's fine. Good night.
He exits through the window. Rodger enters downstairs to the dining room.
Abigail, where in God's name are you? I'm about to make a toast.
I'm coming.
She exits. Scene 3. Weeks later. The lights come up on Penny's apartment where David is writing a letter.
Dear Miss Logan, I hope this letter finds you well after 2 weeks since seeing me. I knew when I meet you right to you after I got my house, but I wanted to tell you that I put a bid down and things are looking up. So you can see I can be trusted. I did not flee the country, although I am planning to make a trip to Canada soon. I suppose I'll have to write to you that the amount. I suppose I'll have to write to you too, so you can know where my whereabouts are in case you decide to send the Nazis after me. Or Penny. I like to think he wouldn't turn me in, but let's face it, he's always been a wild card in me. I won't be leaving until after I bought this house to settle in. I can give you my address in case you ever want to write to me. After all, I probably wouldn't have this house if it weren't for you.
Lights up on the house. Abigail enters downstairs, reading a letter and holding a wrapped book.
I cannot thank you enough for your generosity, but I'll try. Enclosed is a book. The local bookstore shopping didn't have it. If Greek Gatsby, but I did find a collection of Fitzgerald's short stories. It's a bit heavier than Gatsby, so maybe you'll have better luck with your next intruder. I hope you like it. Many thanks, David.
He exits and the apartment goes dark. Abigail begins writing a letter.
Dear David, thank you for the book, and I'm glad you were able to make an offer on your home. Please keep me updated when you close on your phone.
Madeline enters from the bedroom stairs, giggling over her shoulder as she descends on the steps. She freezes when she sees Abigail.
Oh, Rodger said you weren't home.
Rodger comes downstairs.
Rodger?
Oh, Abigail, I thought you were going into the city today.
Rodger, what's going on?
You remember Madeline from the party, don't you?
I don't think we formally met. Madeline there. Right. Well, I better be getting home. Goodbye, Rodger. This is Logan.
Drive safe.
Madeline exits.
Abigail,
You're cheating on me?
Madeline is a very beautiful girl. I thought you knew.
No! How could I have known? How could you do something like this?
We have a lot in common. I need a woman like that.
I'm going to be sick.
She hurries away from him, but he follows.
Look, Abigail, we both know that this marriage was more of a business deal than a romance. Well, I have a right to find romance, and since you don't understand that, I deserve to find someone who does.
But I'm your wife. I love you.
You sure don't act like it. You don't go to my parties. You barely spend time with me. And when you do, you act like you'd rather be anywhere else. Face it, you love your books more than you love me.
No, you've got it all wrong.
You married me because of your father, didn't you? Not because you loved me. Didn't you?
We've been married for 3 years, Rodger. Don't you think I love you by now? Don't you love me?
I did when we were going to the theater and you wore that pretty lavender dress. When you laughed at one of my jokes and couldn't stop smiling at me for the rest of our Christmas party. When I took you to Paris and we kissed under the Eiffel Tower. Abby, you're beautiful. How could I not love you?
But you don't love me anymore?
How could I when you won't love me?
No. Love is deeper than flirting and parties and exotic vacations. It's commitment. And it's supporting each other when life doesn't go your way. You have no idea what love is.
Madeline would beg to differ.
Abigail slaps him across the cheek.
You disgust me. You absolutely and thoroughly disgust me.
Feel better now? You owe me, remember? I don't owe you anything, so you don't get any say over what I do or who I love.
If you love Madeline so much, why don't you just marry her? Why don't you divorce me so that I'm out of the way?
You don't think I've thought of that? But I'm a businessman. I made a deal with your father that I intend to keep, and you can't leave me because you're a part of that deal. Abby, don't be upset with me. I take care of you, don't I? I've given you this house and your clothes and your reputation.
Do you think I care about any of that? All I wanted when I married you was for my father to live and us to be happy together.
You're naive.
Maybe I am. After all, how could I be happy with the thing you treat me like trash?
What have I said about talking to me like that?
He takes a threatening step closer.
I treat you decent. Do you think any other man would put up with you after learning how worthless you are?
I am not worthless.
Men want wives who host parties and go to teas, who dress nicely and welcome them home, who smile and nod and say pretty little things, not spend hours in an attic filling their heads with useless nonsense.
You always tell me what a terrible wife I am, but at least I'm putting effort into our marriage. Meanwhile, you're cheating on me with a Harleywood harlot.
I don't have to stand here and take this from you. Either you learn to love me and treat me as you should, or you can come to terms with me loving Madeline instead of you.
He steps away and grabs his coat.
Where are you going?
Out.
He opens the door. Herman.
Mr. Logan, permanent Herman. You want to discuss the matter of the will?
Yes, now's a good time.
Will your wife join us?
No.
They exit to the office and Abigail exits the opposite way. The lights go out on the house and up on the apartment. David has another letter.
Thank you for the book. I'm glad you're going to make an offer on your house. Please keep me updated when you close your home. As I write this letter, all I can think about is you asking me if my husband loves me. I thought he did, but today I learned that he never has, despite what he may think. There's one thing I can do. He reminds me daily that I owe him my father's life, and I can't leave him. Where would I go? What would I do? Who else would I turn to? Right now, he's out. Who knows where you're doing? Who knows what? And all I could think to do was finish my letter to you. Maybe I told you too much, and I'm sorry if I have. Good luck with the house, and I'm glad I could help. Please write again. Sincerely, Abigail.
Hey, what you got there?
A letter.
Who writes letters?
Classy people like myself.
Aren't we sophisticated? Who's it from?
A person.
You're being awfully secretive. Come on, why won't you tell me?
Because you're going to think it means something that it doesn't.
Ooh, is it from a lady friend?
A friend who's a lady. Do you remember Abigail Logan? She wanted to know if I got my house.
Well, I guess she did pay $10,000 for that, right?
I don't want you to tell anyone about this. There's really nothing to it, but I don't want rumors to start.
I mean, sure, you break into Rodger Logan's house, and now you apparently have a special connection to his wife. Man, I wonder what the press would pay for a story like that.
Penny!
I'm kidding. I hate Rodger Logan as much as you do, remember? And I would never sell you out like that.
He'll do it if you'll be my personal foot massager for a year.
You don't have to tell me twice. I've seen the kind of things that grow on your feet. That's not healthy, man.
We're done here.
What? You don't have to be embarrassed. You're still a fun guy.
Penny.
Seriously, you should be awarded for how great you are.
Shut up, Penny.
No, I think I have a talent. It's really easy for me to toenail these puns.
They exit. Lights out on the apartment. Lights come up on the house. There's now an impressive stack of envelopes on Abigail's desk, where she sits, writing another letter.
I'm so happy to hear that you're settling in, and I hope you like the flowers I sent. Also, I cannot believe you quit violin after 12 years. Perhaps you should try to take it up again. I played piano when I was a little girl, and I was never any good at it. Maybe after you've mastered violin, you can go on and teach me piano. To answer your questions about the current state of my home life, I can only wish I had better news. Rodger is barely ever home, and when he is, so is Madeline. It's been terribly lonely as of late, and I've found such solace in our pen friendship. I wish you would come and visit. You don't even have to give notice. I can't wait to hear about your trip to Canada. Your friend, Abigail. P.S. Use the door this time. Friend.
She smiles to herself at the absurdity of the statement. Rodger enters through the front door.
Abby, are you home? I have something to show you.
I'm up here.
Rodger enters the attic.
Look, 2 tickets for the symphony.
Wow, I'm sure Madeline will love those.
No, Abby, I bought them for us. They're for Vivaldi's seasons, and I want to take you. You'd like that, wouldn't you?
Well, yes I would. Very much. But why are you taking me?
Well, I don't want to lose you.
Why? Can Madeline break it off with you?
Abby, I'm afraid of losing you. And I'm not married to Madeline, I'm married to you. And I found that over these last few weeks, I don't want to be unhappily married.
Rodger.
You were right. We can make this work. You're my wife. I don't want to be miserable with you, and I don't want you to be miserable with me. So can we both agree to put some effort into this marriage of ours?
There's a lot to fix.
Well, I know that, but we can start simply. I won't see Madeline, and I don't want you in here reading. We know those are the 2 main things in the way of our happiness.
Rodger, you know these books are important to me. I want to learn. I want to read great stories and visit new worlds and fill my mind with good things. This is all part of who I am, and it makes me happy.
We're both going to have to make sacrifices. Do you want to be with me or not?
Yes, but
Then do we have a deal?
always the businessman.
Oh, come on, Abby. Marriage at its simplest is a business contract. I'll remain faithful to you in exchange for you supporting me. And that means not being locked up in here in your own world for hours every day. I want to take you to parties and dinners and show everyone what a beautiful wife I have. Can we try that? Great. Now, put away your books and come downstairs with me. The cook made us a nice lunch on the veranda.
They exit the attic. The house goes dark again, and David enters the apartment with a paper and pen. Penny enters soon after.
Any mail?
No mail.
Are you sure? I'm expecting something.
Shouldn't you be getting mail at your own place now?
There wasn't any.
Oh, I see. Now that I'm not your roommate, I'm just your mailman. And what are you expecting that to be so important? Another letter?
Well, yeah.
Sorry, there's no mail.
It probably doesn't mean anything, right?
I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but you're not the center of her universe. Not even close. She's a married woman. She has a million things to do before she even thinks about writing letters to you.
I guess.
Besides, women are flighty.
No, not Abigail. Penny, am I an idiot?
That's very probable.
I just don't know what I want.
It seems like you want her.
No, she's married. I don't feel that way about her. It's just, I didn't think she'd forget about me. I like to think I'm important to her. She's important to me.
Clearly.
She isn't like anyone I've ever met. And I thought she would be different. Not flighty, not forgetful.
I wouldn't think too much of it.
You're right. She must be busy.
She is Rodger Logan's wife, after all.
But she told me she was right when I got back from Canada.
She must be busy.
She is Rodger Logan's wife.
Right. His wife.
David is silent for a moment, and crumbles up his paper. Yes. Scene 4, a week later. At Rise, it is a dark and stormy night. Thunder cracks. Abigail and Rodger are getting ready to go to the symphony.
I'll get the keys, Rodger.
Thanks. I'm almost ready, and we can't stay out too late. I have an early morning tomorrow.
With what? Tomorrow is Saturday.
I have to meet with my attorney about my will.
Oh, everything all right?
Yes, everything's fine. Just a quick thing.
Oh, I don't have my glasses.
Where are they?
I think in the attic, top drawer of my desk.
Rodger goes to the attic.
We may want to wait to leave until the storm dies down. I know we don't want to be late for the concert, but we really shouldn't be driving in this kind of weather. I heard on the radio that I was having his clothes.
Coming downstairs with a stack of envelopes.
Abigail, what are these?
Letters.
They're all from David Parks. That sounds familiar. Where have I heard that name?
He's a friend. You met him at your party several weeks ago.
That must be it, but I don't remember him.
Well, he was there. He was nice.
A little too nice, it seems.
Rodger, please don't turn this into anything. David is a friend and nothing more. We haven't even seen each other since the night of the party.
You haven't? Then why did I find these stuffed away in your desk? You were hiding them from me.
I was not.
Is this what you spend your time in the attic doing?
What exactly are you accusing me of? Writing letters?
Yes. What are you doing writing letters to a man anyway?
I told you he's a friend. You wanted me to make friends, remember?
Yeah, with my friends' wives, not this random David person.
Sorry, you were very specific.
Just what are you trying to start with me here?
I'm not trying to start anything. Really, Rodger, just forget about this.
Oh, so now you're trying to cover it up, are you?
I can write letters to whomever I want, especially to a friend. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm not the one who cheated.
Don't you bring Madeline into this. This isn't about her. This is about you.
Hey, you can't open that.
Here he's thanking you for money. What money?
It was money he was owed.
Now I remember. David Parks. He was a filthy night guard who showed up and demanded his money.
Don't talk about him like that.
Abigail, what exactly is going on?
I'll explain everything, but please don't be angry.
Tell me right now, Abigail.
After you brutally kicked David and his friend out of the party, he came back. He told me what happened, and from what I also heard from Mr. Pratt, I put the pieces together of who he was.
You gave him $10,000?
It was money that you had promised him. It was already his, and you had already written the check.
I cannot believe you. You gave $10,000 to a stranger without telling me?
He's not a stranger. He saved your company millions of dollars, which, by the way, you never told me about.
Did it ever occur to you that I had my reasons for not giving him the money? He and his friend embarrassed me in front of all my guests, and they behaved like a couple of delinquents who only wanted to con me out of my money. You should know better than to trust people like that.
I do know better. You don't know David at all, and he's no delinquent.
What would you call him then? He caused a scene and tried to extort $10,000 from me.
Wouldn't you rather handle all of this peacefully?
I would rather you call the police. In fact, I will right now, and I'm getting back that $10,000.
No, he didn't do anything wrong.
I don't know what sort of sick attachment you have to this man, but this is the end of it. I love you, and I'm not going to stand here and watch you love someone else.
It's not like that, and if you really loved me, you would trust me.
It's not like you trust me very much either.
Well, Madeline has something to do with that.
Abby, I only want what's best for us, and this David character will only get in the way.
He's a friend, and he's part of my life.
I'm your life.
But
Enough, Abigail.
He rips up the letters.
That's enough.
Ding dong!
Who could that be? Whoever it is, tell them we're about to leave for the concert.
I suppose I'm getting the door then.
She opens the door where David is waiting, drenched in the rain.
David!
I'm sorry. You told me I didn't need to call ahead, and I'm sorry for showing up like this, but I wanted to see you.
Come in. You shouldn't be outside in the storm.
You! Abigail, you said you hadn't seen each other since the party.
We haven't. This is the first time.
You must take me for a fool. I can see exactly what's going on here. And you called me the unfaithful one.
Sir, your wife isn't unfaithful, and she isn't mine. We haven't seen each other since the party. She just invited me over to talk.
Did she now?
Look, don't take this out on her. I can leave. I'm sorry for the intrusion.
Abigail, you actually invited him over? The man who took my $10,000? Who ambushed me in front of my guests?
You owed him the money, and if he ambushed you, then you had it coming. And frankly, you had it coming for a long time.
Honestly, Abigail, I don't know why you insist on disrespecting me. I'm trying to make things right, and then you have to go and make friends with this nobody from nowhere. This is ridiculous. You're being illogical.
But you did forbid me from studying, so I'm afraid I don't have much access to logic anymore.
What have I told you about being smart with me?
He reaches to grab hold of Abigail, but David steps between them.
Hey, don't touch her.
Who are you to tell me how to treat my wife?
How you treat her was wrong.
What have you told them?
The truth.
What truth? I didn't do anything to deserve this. You worthless, ungrateful little...
Leave her alone.
Rodger struggles against him, still trying to reach Abigail, but David shoves him back. The three stand in intense silence before Rodger whips toward the door and grabs his coat and an umbrella.
Come on, Abigail.
What?
He jerks the umbrella open, thunder outside.
We're going to the symphony. Come on.
He exits.
You alright?
I'm fine. I need to find my coat.
You're not, so go.
I need my coat. Please help me find.
Lightning strikes and there's a loud boom of thunder.
Ah!
Rodger? Rodger!
She exits. David close behind her. Act 2. A few days later, the doorbell rings. Abigail enters from the hall, dressed in all black. She opens the door and Mr. Pratt enters.
Mr. Pratt, come in. Lunch is almost ready.
Thank you. I'm so glad you wanted me here. You shouldn't be alone today. It was a lovely service, don't you think? Just lovely.
Yes, very, except...
She wanted to come along.
Hello, Mrs. Logan. I just wanted to come pay my respect.
There, dear. Everything will be all right.
But he was too young. He didn't deserve it.
I know, but even the richest man can't control where lightning strikes.
Can you sue lightning?
You'll need a very good lawyer.
Whoever built this house on a hill should be sued. It's a safety hazard. No wonder he was struck.
My dear, you're hysterical. Sit down and drink something.
He had so much to live for. He had his company, he had his friends, and he had me. How did he leave me like this? He promised he was going to help me get my next movie off the ground, but the attorney was still getting everything squared away with the will. And I have no idea where things stand. I'll sue the attorney.
Money doesn't solve anything.
Mrs. Logan, if you learned anything or married to Rodger, you should have learned that money can solve anything.
You can't bring Rodger back.
You're absolutely no help. You never were. You never loved him as much as I did. And you're no help at all.
She collapses into her chair and cries into her hands.
Pay her no attention. She's just upset. And she handles it differently than
She's probably right. I haven't taken care of any practical things yet. I can't seem to get my head in the right place.
you. That's completely understandable. You take all the time you need.
I just can't believe he's dead.
Yep, dead as a donut.
He wasn't even 30.
And what a grand life he might have lived if he hadn't been burnt crispy like a piece of
What a horrible way to die.
A shame that he liked a large house and a large umbrella.
Oh, it was awful.
Tell me what I can do for you.
Nothing more than you've already done.
And what is that?
You've always been so kind to me. I'm so grateful for that.
Well, you're very sweet. I suppose I need to go help Madeline find a lawyer to build her case against lightning.
He sits next to Madeline. The doorbell rings again. Abigail opens the door. David enters.
What are you doing here?
I bought flowers.
I can take those.
How are you? Maybe that's a stupid question, but I need to know. How are you? I'm sorry about Rodger's death and, well, how are you?
I'm fine.
How are you really?
How do you think I am? My husband is dead.
Well, he wasn't a very good husband.
Always so skilled with words.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that. It's just, I know this is hard, but good can come out of it.
You shouldn't have gotten involved.
What?
I don't want to have this conversation here. I have guests.
You can go somewhere more private.
Mr. Pratt, please take Madeline to the dining room. Tammy's prepared lunch. I'll be there in a moment.
Mr. Pratt and Madeline exit. Abigail waits until they're alone before addressing David.
It was my marriage, David. You shouldn't have interfered, and now Rodger is dead.
I was only trying to protect you. I thought he was going to hurt you.
I don't need protection. I lived with Rodger for 3 years. I could handle him. I didn't need you to stick up for me.
You deserve better than him.
And who are you to tell me what I deserve? It seems like everyone wants to have a say in who deserves what, but the truth is, we have the cards worked out with, and we have to make the best of them.
Not those cards cheat on you and tell you that you're worthless.
So what should I have done?
You shouldn't have been with him in the first place.
I had no choice, and don't try to tell me what I should or shouldn't have done. You were married to him. You don't know what it was like.
I suppose this is where you tell me it wasn't all bad.
He had his good moments, just like anyone. And things were getting better. He brought us tickets to the symphony. He told me that he loved me.
He's a liar.
Whoever have no right to tell me that my husband didn't love me.
He stole everything from you. Your imagination, your passion, your voice. Would he do that to you if he really loved you?
Stop.
Abigail, I know you. You love your books and your opinions, and your mind reaches for the outermost corners of the world. And Rodger wanted to shut you in a box where your only book would be, and only posting, your only opinion would be his.
I don't want to listen to what you think was wrong with my marriage. We were trying to repair it, and we both made sacrifices.
So you gave up everything, your books, your letters, and your mind. You love those things.
Rodger loved Madeline, and he gave her up too.
That's altogether different. Rodger was cheating. He wasn't being a good husband.
And I wasn't being a good wife. He was right. I was selfish to spend all that time in my attic. I didn't love him like I should have. And that's all he wanted. A good wife would have supported him and hosted his parties and made friends with his friends. No wonder he was disappointed in me.
Abigail, don't believe that.
I want you to stay out of this. If I had done what Rodger said and never written to you, he wouldn't be dead.
You have to realize that you are in a bad situation. You told me yourself in your letters, and you can't let Rodger's death blind you to that. I can make the past. You can't make the past different than what it was.
David, please go.
I'm sorry if I upset you, but I thought out of all people you would appreciate the truth.
If you were tied to a cruel man for 3 years and claimed one day to find him dead and your whole world turned upside down, tell me you wouldn't want to bury the hard truth deep inside of you too.
You may want to, but you can't do that.
I said go, David.
You're not thinking straight.
I asked you twice, and I won't ask again.
He exits. Mr. Pratt enters from the dining room.
Who was that?
No one important.
She exits. Mr. Pratt. Scene 2. 3 weeks later. Lights up on the apartment where Penny is strumming a guitar.
Penny was a man who came from nowhere. All he had was great talent and incredible hair. He began his great journey with just his guitar, and soon he became a world famous rock star. He had gained a reputation quite weighty. He was strong with the lads and smooth with the ladies. They shouted, "Penny, what a man! He's so handsome, so bold!" and showered him on him pounds and pounds of their gold. He played in every country from France to Belize, and all the great kings fell down at his knees. The people elected him president of the world, and he... David! What rhymes with world?
David enters holding a sheet of paper.
We're gonna next hit single.
You know, I'm doing this for the both of us. What happened to our teenage dream of starting a band? You were going to be our lead guitarist.
I think that ended when we found out you couldn't sing.
Well, one day, I'm finally gonna write a song, and then it's hello, Carnegie Hall. I'll be the most famous rock star to ever scream a note, and you'll be sorry you ever doubted me.
You're right. I'm sorry. You're a better songwriter than Elvis himself.
Really?
No, it's just that I can't bear any more pessimistic thoughts today.
Why? What's that in your hand?
A letter I need to finish.
To Abigail?
My fifth.
I think if she wanted to talk to you, she would have written back by now.
It's been 3 weeks. I just have to make things right with her. And I can't do that if she won't answer me. Maybe I'm just saying all the wrong things.
Let me see what you have so far. Dearest Abigail. That's it?
It's a start. I've been toying with the beginning though. I've gone from Dear Abigail to My Dear Friend, even one that said just please, but none of them are getting any responses. I settled on Dearest Abigail.
Persistence is a good thing. If I know anything about women, it's that when they tell you to leave them alone, they're really madly in love with you.
Really?
Of course! Abigail may have insisted you stop writing to her, but I'm sure she's dreaming about you right now.
No, Abigail and I weren't like that. We're not romantically involved. We're friends. If I don't fix this now, I'm afraid I've lost our friendship for good.
You can't keep using that excuse.
Why not? We are friends.
Then you're an idiot.
I told you before not to make this something that it's not.
You're always writing the letters to her like you're Scott Fitzgerald. You showed up at her house in the middle of a thunderstorm just because you wanted to see her face. And say what you will about my songwriting, but I hear you squeaking away on your violin, all because of what she said to you about picking it up again.
Think what you want. Besides, even if I was in love with her, she's Miss Rodger Logan. Meanwhile, I can't afford a big house or fancy parties, or tickets to the symphony.
Was.
What?
She was Miss Rodger Logan. And do you honestly think that she cared about his mansion or his parties?
Well, no,
But what? It's time you stop making excuses for yourself and hiding behind pen and paper. If you want to reconcile with Abigail, you need to tell her exactly how you feel, face to face.
There's a knock at the door. Penny opens, sees Abigail, squeals, and slams it shut.
In fact, you can tell her right now.
He opens the door for Abigail. She enters, and he exits. Damon scrambles to tidy up the apartment.
Tell me what?
Abigail, hi. What are you doing here?
I want to talk to you.
Really? You haven't answered any of my letters.
I've had other things on my mind.
Of course you have. How are things at home? My name is Rodger, and I'm sorry for being so thoughtless when I saw you last. Rodger was your husband, and I was an idiot for thinking that you'd be able to think clearly after his death.
I was thinking clearly.
Sorry, I didn't mean...
I didn't come here to talk about Rodger. I'm sorry for coming unannounced like this, but there are things I had to say to your face. I wanted to give you these.
She hands him a stack of letters and a Fitzgerald books.
Those are all the letters I have from you. Rodger destroyed the rest, and I want you to have your book back.
Abigail, no, please keep it.
I enjoyed reading it, and thank you for giving it to me, but I don't want it anymore.
I want you to have it. You can read it again whenever you'd like.
No, David. One day I'll get married again, and I want my husband to be happier than Rodger was. I can't live in a world of books anymore, so I'm starting with getting rid of this one.
You don't have to get married again. Or if you do, you don't have to be with a man like Rodger.
I won't have a choice. I still need the money for my father's treatment, and the leukemia could always come back. God knows what would have happened to him without Rodger's money. It will only be a matter of time before I have to marry another man just like Rodger.
You can figure something out. You don't have to have a life like that again. Think of how unhappy you were.
What do you mean, were, Damon? Look at me now. Do I look happy? At least with Rodger I had stability and protection.
Some protector he was.
He saved my father from dying of cancer.
But I didn't see him protecting you.
It wasn't about me.
It was your marriage. Despite what you did for your father, Rodger treated you horribly. And for once in your life, you need to think about yourself and your own needs. And what you need is safety and love, and someone who will make you happy. Isn't that what your father would want? Isn't that what you want?
Taking a step away from him.
I want you to stop writing to me.
Abigail,
I can't go on with the letters, and I'm sorry.
you can't cut off ties with me just because I don't live in a world where you think you're stuck in. I know I don't have money, but I thought that would matter to you.
But it isn't only about the money.
Then why? Why won't you let me write to you? Why are you shutting me out like this?
You know why.
Abigail, please don't do this.
I have to. I can't let this go any farther than it already has, because if it does,
Then what? You'll fall in love with your future filthy rich husband?
I never said anything about falling in love.
Then what if you did fall in love? Would that really be so fair?
If there is such a thing as love, I don't think I'm capable of it.
No, don't say that.
You were right. Rodger didn't love me. I was delusional enough to think he did. And what's worse, I don't know if I truly loved him. If I can't love my own husband, how could I ever love anyone else?
What about when you first married him? Did you love him then?
I don't know. It's such a blur. The last 3 years have been a long, spinning spiral, and I'm too dizzy to remember when I began. But I remember thinking I wasn't ready to get married. I told my father that on my wedding day.
But you got married anyway.
I couldn't let my father suffer just because I didn't think I was ready.
Okay, so you do love someone. You love your father.
That's different. You're supposed to love your spouse more than anyone else in the world. And Rodger, I just knew I was supposed to love him, but now everything is so blurry that I can't remember.
Gently taking her by the arms.
Hey, it's okay. You've been through a lot, and it's normal to be down in the past. Just don't let that limit the future you could have.
Stop. I can't think about the future. Not now. It's already decided for me.
Even if you don't think about the future, it's going to pass without you even seeing.
I can't afford to think like that.
But you don't think about the future. Don't you think about me?
You want my future to be with you?
I didn't say that.
Don't you?
What I want is for you to take some time to realize that Rodger and all of those other people don't have power over your life anymore. And in the meantime, don't give up on our friendship. Just because you're scared of what it might become.
I have to. I'm sorry.
You don't have to do anything, Abigail. Please.
David, I'm sorry. Goodbye.
She exits, and he enters.
What did she say?
She told me. She told me that she's done.
She's done.
Yes, she She made that very clear.
I'm really sorry. I know I teased you about her, but it's hard having someone walk away from you like that. But it seems like you've both been through hell these past 2 weeks. Maybe it's best that you're both moving on.
Maybe. Ugh, I'm gonna hurl.
Ha!
What?
Hurl rhymes with whirl! And David got dumped, and then he went and hurled. Not my best work.
Yeah, thanks for that.
He turns to leave while Penny strums a sad melody on his guitar. David looks over his shoulder.
Penny, I really appreciate if you would stop that.
Sure. Sorry.
David exits.
All by myself.
Penny!
Penny exits. Scene 3. Later that same day, Abigail and Mr. Pratt enter from the office. Mr. Pratt carries a briefcase.
Thank you for helping me with all these papers. The attorney should be here any minute.
I'm happy to help. This is a very exciting day.
What's so exciting about a will reading?
Rodger was one of the wealthiest people in New York, and who knows how deep his pockets were. Doesn't that excite you?
I wouldn't have to worry about the money if you weren't dead.
Well, I know I'm curious. Rodger may be dead, but that doesn't mean I can't wonder about how much money he had, or whom he's giving it to.
Ding dong! Abigail opens the door. Herman enters with a stack of papers.
Mrs. Logan?
Oh, yes, come in.
Herman and Herman, I'm sorry for your loss. Please sign.
She gives her a sheet of paper and a pen, and she signs.
Is there anything else I can...
Sign.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
Have a seat.
Okay,
And don't cry. These things are always harder when they cry.
noted.
She sits.
What about me?
You can cry.
I need to sign.
Are you family?
Almost family.
Almost family don't have anything to sign. Have a seat.
Disappointed, Mr. Pratt joins Abigail. Herman finishes sorting through the papers, and all three stay silent and motionless for an awkwardly long moment.
Are we waiting on anything?
Not everyone is here yet.
Who else is supposed to come?
Madeline enters.
Ah, there we are.
Sorry I'm late.
Why is she here?
I was invited.
Well, isn't that a coincidence? Look at us, Rodger's three closest friends, all gathered here at his will. Isn't this nice?
I'm sure Madeline would be disappointed if Rodger ever called her a friend.
Well, Mrs. Logan, we were quite friendly.
I wish I had been as friendly to Rodger as you were.
Trust me, you know it.
For the love of God, can we hear this will already?
There's always one. I, Rodger Logan, being of sound mind and body, do hereby give my last will and testament. First, I would like to extend my love to my family, my wife, my dear friends, etc., etc. And Rodger's luxurious two-door Bentley goes to a distant cousin who couldn't be here. Always a disappointment. And Mr. Logan's 74-foot yacht goes to Mr. Eugene Pratt.
This is so unexpected. Thank you, thank you. Well, Mrs. Logan, you may not see me for a little while because my wife and I are finally going to Montego Bay.
Always nice to see someone enjoying a dead man's yacht. The Logan residence, along with $1 million, goes to Miss Abigail Logan.
She tosses the deed to Abigail.
Thank you.
Moving along, the remaining liquid assets, a sum of $54 million, are divided between the M. Mayer Production Company and Miss Madeline Mayer herself. Miss Mayer, please come sign.
I don't believe this.
Now wait!
Oh, I just adored Rodger. He was always so generous. This is unexpected. I've always wanted my own production company and a house in Miami.
Take this, I will contact you shortly.
Oh, thank you. Goodbye, Mr. Pratt. Goodbye, Mrs. Logan. Au revoir.
There has to have been a mistake.
I just read the will, ma'am.
But surely he didn't leave her all that money.
I sincerely offer my condolences. Please contact Herman and Herman for all of her legal expenses.
She turns to exit.
No, wait just a minute.
The door slams shut.
Mrs. Logan, I am so sorry. I had no idea he was leaving all that money to Madeline. That must have been why it took so long for them to get the will recorded. And if I had known, I would have had a very long talk with that lawyer.
Can't believe him. How could he leave almost everything to Madeline?
I never knew he cared so much for some random actress. Did you know? I can't even imagine what's going through your mind right now. Are you all right? I suppose you're not. What can I do?
Please, Mr. Pratt, I just need to sit down for a minute.
Of course, of course.
Abigail sits and rests her head in her hands for a silent moment.
We were married for 3 years, and Madeline makes off like a bandit. But he stopped seeing her and told me that he loved me. He could have meant to change the will back. Could have known he would die so suddenly.
But what he meant to do won't fix what he did do.
You're right. He did what he did, and yet again, I'm left to suffer the consequences.
Mrs. Logan, do you mind if I say a few words?
Go ahead.
It's perfectly justified for you to be upset at Rodger. But I would also encourage you to look at what you do have. He left you this great, glorious house, and sure, Madeline got off with most of his money, but you still have a fair amount to live on. Doesn't that make you feel better?
I could be poor and happy for the rest of my life, but it's the principle of the thing that upsets me.
Perhaps you're only wishing that you could think better of Rodger after his death. But perk up, because in all his generosity, he did leave Mrs. Pratt and I his yacht. And you're welcome to take some trips with us once summer rolls around.
Thanks.
Oh, I don't like seeing you like this, Mrs. Logan. The truth is, well, I need to tell you something.
Yes?
I'm the one who introduced your husband to Madeline. I have some connections in LA, and he called me and asked me to invite her. I didn't know his intentions, and if I had, I wouldn't have done it. But now I'm afraid Madeline has made a fool of both of us. How was I supposed to know that Rodger would want to have an affair with a smoking hot actress?
You did nothing wrong. Rodger made his own decisions. There's nothing that can be done about it now.
Don't sound so helpless. All isn't lost. You still have a long life ahead of you.
Life of what?
Why, the life of an important, sophisticated woman, of course. You'll continue making connections, just as Rodger. Just because he's gone doesn't mean you're excluded from Rodger's circle of friends. You'll still go to parties and meet all sorts of people, just like before. And one day, some wealthy, handsome bachelor will come sweep you off your feet. You don't need to worry about your life changing.
But I think deep down, change is what I hope for.
What do you mean? Didn't you love the life you had with Rodger? His affair aside, you two had a love that some people can only wish for.
I would have wished that kind of marriage on anyone.
Well, if a girl like you can't be happy in a marriage with a man like Rodger, I don't think there's hope for the rest of us.
Do you think there's hope for me?
If you'll take my advice, I would encourage you to limit your hopes. You've already lost so much, and I don't want you to be hurt anymore.
I think all I've been doing since Rodger died is hoping.
Hoping for what?
It doesn't matter now, and I'd rather not hope for it anymore.
Oh dear, what's the matter? I didn't mean to make you cry.
No, it's not you. I'm sorry.
Tell me what's wrong.
It's just, oh, Mr. Pratt, I've never felt so alone in my life.
I understand. I know you must miss Rodger very much.
But it's not just him. I think I've made a terrible mistake.
Well, cheer up. You'll never be alone, not while you own this big, beautiful house. And before you know it, you'll be at another party with others whom you can talk to about fashion or politics or whatever it is you women like to talk about. And in the meantime, you can always talk to me.
Thank you.
You still look so sad. Why don't you go bake something? That might cheer you up. You seemed like you were always in the kitchen when you were married to Rodger.
Abigail starts to exit for the kitchen, but stops.
I think I'm actually going to go read. Haven't done that in some time.
Are you sure? Because it might be therapeutic for you to make some shortbread cookies you always like to make.
I'm sure. My attic must be feeling neglected.
You could make that sweet glaze that you would just all over them. That would make them melt in your mouth.
Maybe some other time.
All right. I should be getting home. I'm sure you'll feel better about this whole Rodger dying thing in a few weeks. But call me if you ever want to talk again.
I will. And thank you.
Anytime.
Goodbye. Have a safe drive home.
He exits. Scene 4, a few weeks later. Abigail enters the attic, holding a stack of envelopes. She quickly thumbs through them, but none of them are from David. She tosses them aside and starts to read, but it doesn't last long. She slams the book shut.
Oh, forget this.
She picks up a pen and a piece of paper and writes a little, then holds her head in her hand and anxiously taps her pen, thinking of what to write. And suddenly the doorbell rings. She still taps her pen. The doorbell rings again.
Coming.
She hurries downstairs and the doorbell rings a third time.
I'm coming.
She opens the door, revealing David.
David, what are you doing here?
I'm sorry. I know you told me to stay away, and I will. But not before I say what I need to say. Then he'll turn me away again. I promise. You'll never see me for the rest of your life.
All right. What do you have to say?
Well, I wrote you one last letter. I wrote one last letter to you, but I wanted to deliver it to you in person. I can read it to you.
Okay.
Or here, you can read it. No, I'll read it. My darling Abigail, no more than a few months ago, I wanted nothing more than to be entirely independent from anyone in this world. I wanted to be as free as a bird, able to be and do anything I wanted. I never intended or even wished to fall in love. And it wasn't until I climbed through your window that all of that changed.
David.
Let me finish. I didn't even admit it to myself, but all I've been doing since we met is thinking about you. And being separate from you only made me hope more. Now, I ask that you eradicate my cause for hope, either by accepting me or by refusing me forever. And I could go on battling about hope and independence, both of which apparently I know nothing about. But at the end of the day, there's one truth that I'm sure of. I love you, Abigail Logan, more than you could ever know. I ask that you give yourself another chance at love, because you're the only thing holding yourself back from it.
All I was able to write was Dear David.
You were going to write to me?
I was writing a letter when you came in.
They go to the attic and she hands an unfinished letter.
I didn't get very far.
Well, I've always wanted to want the letter with the words.
That is so like you.
I was kidding.
You think you can just waltz in here with a well-written letter after we don't talk for weeks, and you tell me that you love me, and then you insult my letter writing? What am I supposed to say to that?
I'm confused.
So maybe I don't say the first thing on my mind like you do. Maybe I don't always know how to say how I feel. Well, we're different people, and you can't expect me to know exactly which words to use all the time and come up with a long, wide, and flowery speech when what I want to say is complicated enough.
You think it was flowery? Now who's insulting whose letter writing?
I'm not insulting you.
Sure sounds like it.
Just don't have the same expectations for me, and you always take things so personal.
Insult!
See?
Why are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you.
We're standing here screaming at each other.
Because thanks to you, what I wanted to say sounds stupid and simple.
What did you want to say?
I love you. I love you, David, and I don't have a speech prepared.
That's alright. That's all I could ever want you to say. Will you hate me if I say more?
I could never hate you. Not ever.
The thing is that I know our worlds are different. I'm no idiot. I don't have money or a big fancy house. And I also know that it hasn't been long since Rodger's death. If you need time, then I understand.
But I have had time. More than enough time. I've been lying to myself for 3 years, and I finally accepted the truth. You were right. I was shut in a box. I have opinions, and I have a voice, but I allowed myself to buy into Rodger's lie that I had to choose between my mind and love. And I felt safe. I thought he offered me security, but it was eating me alive inside. I'm stronger on my own 2 feet than I ever was while being supported by him. And now that I see that, do you ever wake up some mornings to watch the sunrise?
Sure. Sometimes.
Well, it's like that. When it's dark outside, when that first bit of light comes over the horizon and the sky begins to turn indigo, then violet, then orange. And you can't stop watching because once you see that first light, you have to wait for the whole sun. And it seems like the darkness was never there. Now that I've seen my life for what it really was and is, I can't go back to living in the dark. I love the light, and I love you.
But there are other things to think about, too. You have your father to take care of. I know it's important for you that you have the money for his health expenses, and I can't give you that. I can't give that to you.
Then I'll sell the house.
What?
Yes, I'm going to sell the house. That will be more than enough for his treatment.
I can't ask you to give up your home for me.
This was never my home, or at least it never felt like it. I'm going to sell it. A big house can't make me happy.
So you're sure you don't want to marry another rich, high-class man?
I thought that's what I needed, but I was so completely wrong. You're all I need. I shouldn't have cut you off. I was scared. but that was no excuse to hurt you, and I'm sorry.
I'm sorry for being so harsh.
No, I needed it. I needed to wake up and see that Rodger doesn't have power over me anymore.
You never should have.
I know, I let him get in my head. I came to think he was right about love, but he was nowhere close. You've taught me what it is to love someone.
Really? Didn't learn that from Fitzgerald?
Maybe I would have if I had finished The Great Gatsby before I threw it out the window. And that's another thing. I'd like my book back if you don't mind.
I'm glad you did. I know Rodger tried to make you give up reading, but I don't want you to ever do that. You can run away to your Wonderland or an army as much as this mission makes you happy.
Well, I'll certainly visit those places, but I prefer reality.
Really?
Of course, I'm here with you.
She takes his hands.
Where else would I rather be?
So, where are we going from here?
Dinner would be a good start.
Can dancing follow?
I'd like that.
And Kenny says I'm not going with girls.
Does he know you're here?
No, but I really want to spring this on him.
We can stop by on the way to dinner.
He hates surprises.
He may be so shocked he'll have a heart attack.
Or burst out in a song.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Let's go.
He opens the window and starts to climb out.
Where are you going?
The singer. Coming.
They exit out the window.